Hello, 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 everyone. It's Tuesday. Thank you so much for tuning in to my mayhem. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, like this video, and comment below. Today, we're going to be talking about what I went through with my breastfeeding journey. So I will say that it was not all peaches and cream. We did get off to a rocky start, T3 and I, but I have to say we are on the right track. But let's rewind about 6 months and let's get into it. Initially, he wouldn't latch. He wouldn't latch. I mean, you listen to all these stories about people saying that their babies latched on immediately and there was no issues. And then you're like, okay, I won't have any issues. And then you're in the hospital and bam, he doesn't open his mouth wide enough or he clamps down. That was definitely my issue. And I think it did have something to do with like my nipples were not inverted, they just weren't protruding. So they were just kind of on the flatter side. And I think he was having an issue with that. In my first Motherhood Meltdown video, Jasmine and I kind of talked about how we got through that. So I got home from the hospital. They had given me a nipple shield where we practiced together. And I thought it was going to work. And it did not. It did not. As soon as I put it on, tried to latch him on, it just did not work the same way as when I was sitting in front of the lactation consultant. So I was very, 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 very frustrated and confused, and I did have a definite meltdown. I was really having a hard time because in the hospital, Jasmine and Rosie were on, I had told them that I was having issues. So both of them were like, we're going to pump and we're going to bring it to you because whatever's going on, you don't have to give him formula. You can give him the breast milk. Well, the hospital was having a hard time with that. I was upset in the beginning, and then I realized that, they're not sure where the milk is coming from, and so they didn't want to store it. They didn't want to store it in the refrigerator, and they were advising against me using Jasmine's breast milk that she brought up. However, they were pushing that formula heavy, but that's a whole nother story. But anyway, they were totally against it. So I was very frustrated coming home and not being able to because I really wanted to breastfeed. And then my milk came in and it was so much of it and my breasts were hurting so bad. I'm like, yes, you have to eat. Well, it just was not happening that way. So the first month of T3's life, I was exclusively pumping. For the first month of T3's life. I had just let go of this notion that I wasn't breastfeeding because I was pumping. If you talk to moms that are exclusively pumping, a lot of us kind of go through the same thing where it's just like, he's not latching. Well, I'm pumping, I'm feeding him from a bottle, but am I getting the whole experience? Am I not really, breastfeeding per se? And the answer is yes, you are. The answer is yes, you are. The answer is your baby is the whole point is that your baby is getting the best nutrients that he can get from your breast milk. And it doesn't matter how he gets it, whether it be a syringe, whether it be however you decide, whether it be a spoon. I mean, I've heard of it all. However you decide to give him that nutrients, it doesn't matter whether he's latching right away on your breast or not. The whole thing is that he gets the breast milk. So in the midst of all this happening to me and all these emotions going on, I happened to watch Portia Williams from Housewives of Atlanta. I watched her Breakfast Club interview where she was just talking about how she was going through the same thing as me. She was not pumping. The baby was drinking formula, but she was kind of going through the same thing where she was just like, worried so much about all of these little small details. And it doesn't make her any less of a mother. I just started feeling that ounce of empowerment. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to be an exclusive pumper. I started following all of these exclusive pumping pages on Instagram, which there are pages on Instagram, Facebook. There's so much literature. There's so many ways that you can get information. So I started doing that and I was on my journey. The first thing is to get a really good pump. I got a Amida from my insurance company. I got an Amida and it was okay, but it was not making my life easy. at all. And I was pumping so much milk. So throughout this journey, I also realized that I am a mass producer of milk. I was going to some lactation classes and talking to different people, and we came to the realization that I was pumping enough milk for triplets. So my freezer stash was getting out of control. Everything, it was just a lot, and I wasn't really using the right pump. So I ended up, I was following a young lady. Her Instagram handle is Milky Mama Bear, and I was following her, and she's like me. She produces a lot of breast milk, and she put me on to the Spectra pump. And I had no idea that my life could be that easy. No idea. First thing, get a good pump. Second thing, get a hands-free pumping bra. I don't know what I would do if I was having to sit there like this and hold a pump while I'm pumping. I don't know what I would do. It's ridiculous. Then, having to sit near a charger or a power outlet, having to sit and do that. No, I need something that's portable. I need something I can clip onto something or that I can pick up and walk around with and do those things. So the Spectra was amazing. I ended up going on OfferUp. OfferUp, she said that that's where she got hers from, and she was saying, because those pumps are like $200. She was like, I ended up getting mine for a really good deal, and to her point, I did. I ended up finding a young lady who used it for a couple of weeks and was like, forget this. I'm not pumping anymore. I'm not doing any of that anymore. And, she had the pump. She had extra flanges. She had flanges in every single size so that I could really figure it out what size I was. All this stuff is brand new. She had duck bills. She had backflow protectors, straight from Spectra with, all the way sealed. So everything was brand new. And she was just wanting to get it out of her house. And so she had so many pump parts. She had so many accessories that were very useful to me. And I got all of that out the door for $100. So I couldn't beat that. A lot of these people that you meet on OfferUp and Let Go, they're just trying to make space in their homes. They're just trying to get rid of it. So stay tuned for the video I'm going to do on my OfferUp and Let Go finds for baby. And I'm going to talk about some of the other amazing things that I got off of there for little to nothing. I got my good pump, and it was a total different experience. I'm like, okay, this is how these people are pumping, 8 and 9 times a day. This is how, because it's easier. It's easier. You charge up your Spectra. It's very gentle but efficient. I was pumping way more milk than before. I feel like I was restricting myself somehow with the other pump that I was using. And that's not to knock anything. This is just what worked for me. So the Spectra was amazing, and I felt great about it. I learned some really interesting things just about colostrum milk, and then I started noticing the change between the yellowish milk into the white milk, and just seeing how at different times of the day the milk is kind of looking different. When I was on the iron pills, how it had a little green or blue tinge to it. All those things are normal, but when you're pumping, you can really look at these things. However, I was making so much milk, and I was so tired. I was tired, and I did not feel like getting up in the middle of the night pumping. I thought that the way I could regulate my milk production and my milk flow was to pump as much as I wanted to pump and just kind of let the rest sit so that my body could, determine that I didn't need anymore. Because the way to increase your flow is to empty your breast. So I'm like, okay, if I'm trying to decrease it, which at the time I was not a milk donor, so I didn't need all that milk. I didn't even know about donating milk at the time. And so I was just like, all this pumping, I'm tired. I don't feel like getting up in the middle of the night. So I'm just going to sleep through my midnight pumping session. And I'm going to work through my midday pumping session. Or, I had just started slowly decreasing my pumping sessions. Well, wrong. Do not do that. I got very sick. I got mastitis. I was so sick. I had put the baby down for his nap, and I just started feeling really, really, really drowsy. And so, of course, I had been engorged, but I was just fighting through it because I was like, I'm going to regulate this milk flow. I figured that that was the right thing to do. And so, wow. I went to sleep. I just started feeling real tired and I went to sleep. And when my husband walked in the room, I could not move. I could not move. I felt like I was having the worst flu of my life. My whole body was aching. I couldn't move. I had the worst fever, but I was shivering because I was so cold. I couldn't even talk. I was shivering so bad. And so my husband was like, look, you go lay down in the bed because I don't know what this is, but get away from the baby. Like, you go lay down in the bed and let's figure this out. Well, I started Googling my symptoms and mastitis kept coming up. Mastitis kept coming up. So the ladies of My Mayhem and we have a group chat. So I'm in the group chat like, have you guys ever experienced this? And so Rosie's like, nah, never experienced that. And Jasmine's like, yeah, you have mastitis. I had that. However, some of it is extreme and some of it you can help or get rid of with home remedies. Well, I think mine was beyond that point because I was the sickest I've probably ever been. And I just called my mom, like, Mom, you know, this is what's going on. I'm gonna need you to take me to the emergency room. And she was like, what are you talking about? I explained to her that my breasts were hot to the touch. Like, when I touched them, they were burning up hot. They were hard, burning up hot. It was scary. It was scary. And I could barely talk. I was saying, I'm going to need you to take me to the... So literally we went to the emergency room and we're there, and it was, you know, that was that, because the emergency room is never a good place to be, especially when you have a newborn baby at home. It is not a good place to be. So I was kind of irritated that I was even there. Then I started regretting that I even came. I explained to the doctor my symptoms, and oh yeah, mastitis. They knew exactly what was going on. And they prescribed me some antibiotics. They told me that it was a good thing that I came in because it could have been way more severe if I would have sat at home any longer. Long story short, my strategy was terrible. It was the worst strategy I probably could have ever come up with. So I definitely had to switch gears. And in switching gears, the same woman that I was talking about, Milky Mama Bear, she was talking about donating milk because, I mean, she had like pictures of milk because she was just like me. She was talking about donating. I slid in her DMs. And she gave me the name of the milk bank that she donated to. It's called Tiny Treasures. So anybody who was thinking about donating, I signed up. It was a process. It took maybe about a month or so. But in the meantime, you can just keep stacking your freezer stash. I mean, but I like how efficient they are because they create milk products for babies in the NICU. Premature babies, for whatever reason their mom isn't able to feed them or something is going on where they need extra milk. And I feel really good about that. You do get compensated and you can check with them about that. It's a really good experience. So I did get on to that. And so I'm pumping, I'm doing all this stuff. I feel like a super mom. And once a day, I am seeing if he'll latch. Once a day, seeing if he'll latch. And so literally on his 1 month birthday, bloop, he latched. And everything that was told to me went out the window. The tongue tie that he supposedly had, that they were telling me he had, his pediatrician was like, this baby does not have a tongue tie. I don't know who keeps telling you to go get his tongue snipped and go to a free clinic and have them he doesn't have a tongue tie. So literally I just started putting everything into perspective. Everyone is new to this. I'm new to this. He's new to this. He has never eaten from his mouth before. Like, this is totally new for him. So for him to try to figure out how to like maneuver breastfeeding, the doctor said maybe his jaw muscles aren't quite developed as they need to be. I will say that in pumping, for that time, my nipples did start to protrude. So I'm sure that did make it easier for him. And so all of these things that we're going through together, we're going through all of it together. And I will say that, like, we have figured it out. Yay for us. We have figured it out. And when I had doubts, everyone around me seemed to know that we would get through this. And I was just going through it in the thick of it, and I was getting frustrated, but we definitely got through it. I don't know who needs to hear this, but you're doing a great job. Just keep moving. Just find different ways of doing it. If he's not latching, try pumping, but always try to latch. Always try to latch if that's what you want to do. If you want to exclusively pump, that is fine. I have been on both sides of the spectrum. And so it's totally fine to exclusively pump. Medela has a thing with the bottles where you could put which day of the week and what time. And it has a little revolving thing. And you pump, put it in there. You pick it up from oldest to newest. And you get it going and you feed the baby. Your baby will eat and you will be fine. And you are a great mother and you are a great provider of nutrients, whether he's latching onto you or you're feeding him from a bottle. And even if you have to incorporate formula, that's fine too. What I will say is, don't let people make you feel defeated. I'm just saying, do your own research, test your own limits. And if that is the case, then that's okay. But don't let people put limitations on you and your body. You were built for this, and you'll be fine. So I don't know who needs to hear that, but I'm so happy that we are past that, T3 and I, and now there's a whole array of other things that we're having to figure out together. However, that is my breastfeeding journey. I am now almost 7 months in, and I have committed to a year. So I'm a little bit over halfway there, and I'm excited about it. I'm excited about giving him what I know he's supposed to have from his mother. And I'm just excited that I was able to see all ends of the spectrum. For my next baby, if breastfeeding may not be what I'm able to do, if my work situation has changed and I'm not able to be there to feed the baby all the time, exclusively pumping is definitely a way to go. And there is a law set in place to protect women that are breastfeeding and pumping. So every 3 hours, they should provide you with a safe space to pump and a safe space aside from everyone else's stuff to store your breast milk. So please read up on that so that you can be aware and be in the know on that. So you're not thinking that because you're working and because you're not at home that you're not able to breastfeed or that you're not able to keep up a supply, because by law you are able to. Thank you so much for tuning in to Mommy Mayhem. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, like this video, and comment below about any other topic suggestions that you may have. If you have any questions for me, please comment below. We always answer. Until next time.